There's a spike in monkeypox cases globally, and while it hasn't been confirmed just yet in the Turks and Caicos, health leaders are taking precautions and warning islanders to be vigilant. Our One Caribbean News' Deandra Hamilton reports.
As the cases of monkeypox continue to increase in the region, which is a tourism-dependent zone, thousands of people working in the hospitality industry are concerned about touching objects like linens and towels, which may be infected by someone with the virus. We questioned the Deputy Chief Medical Officer of the Turks and Caicos Islands, Dr. Jeremy Myers, about the situation, and he had this advice.
So general disinfectants have been proven to be effective, and of course regular what we call barrier methods, which would be of course wearing your gloves or even just the disposable aprons that they would usually sometimes wear. It really, by the definition in terms of transmission, requires prolonged exposure. So basically somebody laying down in the bed versus just taking the sheets and putting them in a hamper. Of course there's no way to completely rule out the risk, but the transmission, what science has told us thus far, is that it is from prolonged contact.
Dr. Myers was speaking at a Ministry of Health press conference held recently in the country. At the moment, the TCI does not have any confirmed cases of the monkeypox, but there was one suspected case of the virus. The country is, however, having troubles with testing. Dr. Myers said they're working on getting testing equipment to increase the country's capacity.
So because this is the latest public health threat, as you can imagine, these resources are very limited and in high demand across the world. So we are working aggressively to try and bargain for our piece of it to increase our capacity to test for monkeypox.
In the TCI, the best way to mitigate monkeypox spread of a suspected case is strict quarantine. Deandra Hamilton reporting.
All right, thanks so much, Deandra. Well, meantime, a monkeypox case in France appears to have spread from humans to a dog. According to a case published in the Lancet Medical Journal, two men who live in the same household contracted the virus. About 2 weeks later, their dog, a 4-year-old Italian greyhound, started to have symptoms of monkeypox and tested positive. The couple said they co-slept with their dog. This is believed to be the first human-to-dog transmission of the monkeypox virus. And meantime, 4 of the 6 Trinidadians charged last week on Friday in connection with the assault on Grenada's Anderson Peters, the 2022 World Javelin Champion, pleaded guilty in the St. George's Magistrates Court in Grenada on Monday. Mikhail John, a 35-year-old sailor, John Alexander, a 55-year-old deckhand, and 42-year-old Noel Cooper, the captain of the Harbor Master party boat, and Shion Jack, a 28-year-old sailor, all pled guilty to charges of grievous harm against Anderson Peters and his brother, Kidden. The 4 will remain in custody until sentencing. They are set to return to St. George's No. 1 Magistrates Court on Wednesday, facing the possibility of a maximum 5-year prison sentence and hefty fines. There has been widespread uproar on social media and in Grenada after video surfaced of the Grenadian athlete being assaulted on the vessel and allegedly thrown overboard on Wednesday, August 10th. The location where the crew members will await their sentencing on Wednesday was not disclosed publicly. Their attorney said the decision was taken in the interest of their safety.
You will notice at the end that I did ask the magistrate. He originally said remanded to Her Majesty's prison, and I asked him to remove the part about Her Majesty's prison to give the security forces the option to have them in a secure location that will not expose them to the extent of risk in the remand block. It's a two-edged sword. Having done that, in the event that they do not do what they have to do and something happens, I told them beforehand.
Well, switching gears now to the travel industry, American Airlines is betting supersonic jets will make a comeback. The carrier reportedly placed a deposit for 20 of those jets from Boom Supersonic. Exactly how much that amounts to, it's unknown because American wouldn't reveal the financial specifics. Boom Supersonic is in the first stages of developing a refined version of the aircraft. However, a test flight has yet to take place. According to a press release, the earliest the jets would be unveiled would be in 2025, possibly being available for service a few years later. Before the jets are ready to take the air, the Federal Aviation Administration and foreign regulators would have to give approval. Well, switching gears now, the new school year is already underway in some places, and while the days of mask wearing and remote learning may be behind us, it's still not quite business as usual. That's as many school districts simply don't have enough teachers to fill their classroom. Carrie Sanders reports from Florida, where the problem is especially critical.
It's back to school for students, but not for some teachers who are leaving the profession in record numbers. Schools nationwide are struggling to find qualified teachers, a problem exacerbated by the pandemic.
You're talking about, dealing with more hassles, more frustration, more depression, more anxiety for the same amount of pay.
An estimated 300,000 public school teachers and staff left the field between February 2020 and May 2022. A recent survey of teachers found almost 80% say they're dissatisfied with their working conditions. Almost half saying they're very dissatisfied. And one study found 55% of educators are seriously considering ending their careers earlier than expected. Parents are concerned.
I personally know several teachers who have resigned, who just couldn't take it anymore, not feeling that they were valued.
I want you to pay close attention.
In some school districts, fewer teachers means bigger class sizes, adding stress to those still on the job.
That means kids aren't getting the education they deserve and need.
The education secretary telling C-SPAN that both salaries and respect for teachers have been too low for too long.
You could have a master's degree and you have to drive Uber on the weekends to make ends meet. That's unacceptable.
Florida has some of the worst shortages nationwide, with more than 8,000 teaching positions unfilled. The state is recruiting military veterans to teach, even if they're not certified.
We're going to make sure that if we hire military personnel under these new provisions, that they are able to deliver instruction, that we prepare them well.
Critics urge a different strategy, lure experienced teachers back with better pay and better working conditions.